You brought Rodney, right?
Yeah, a couple times.
Yeah, he was there a few times because you were up there drinking wine, and to watch him keep working, and then Dice keep working, and you. I remember you telling me because you weren't. It was just a matter of factly, but you said, you know what's great about stand up because Carlin was still alive at that time too, and we were watching Rodney, and you were like, is the older you become, the more relevant you are, and as long as you keep working and doing material, and and that always stuck with me. Like even now at my age, hanging with the younger kids, but you're still relevant because you're still creating. You're still in the clubs. You're still, doing what you're doing. And that always stuck out to me that you said that.
Yo, Dom, over here. Hey, Dom, hey.
Yo, Dom.
Steve's shit
for wearing my Cowboys stuff from old Steve, but whatever.
Well, I know, Brett. I know Dom's a closet case Dolphins fan. He filled me in on it.
I love the Dolphins.
And Eleanor's Rams. Eleanor Kerrigan's Rams.
Well, she's got a family of 10, so they all pick different, and they hate each other for that.
They're all fans of different sports teams.
She doesn't like any of the Philadelphia teams.
Dude, see, she was giving me shit for being a Cowboys fan then. I'm like, I thought she was a diehard Eagles fan. Because remember that night we went out to that other spot and she yelled out to everybody in the bar, "Hey, everybody.
Chickies."
This Bret Ernst is a Cowboys fan. And everybody was like, fuck you.
Oh, yeah.
She did that to you at Chicky.
I didn't know she was a Rams fan.
She did that to you at Chicky and Pete's?
It was a cross. It was a
Palladium.
Oh.
Palladium. Dom, have you ever been to the Palladium?
No, what is it?
That's the row home corner bar across the street on Packer Avenue.
I've been there.
Yeah, it kind of the legendary story behind that is that was like the 1993 Phillies used to go in there and drink.
That was Mitch Williams, right? Mitch Williams was on that team. It's when they lost to was it the Blue Jays, right?
Blue Jays. Yep.
Yeah, walk-off home run.
I really do hate your fan base, but I love you guys at the same time. It's almost like, you ever see that? You ever have that one friend that's such a degenerate, and you're like, I can't bring him around anybody, but I fucking love this guy.
Oh yeah. What did I say? I said she had a great ass. So how was that?
So we went to. I go to a Cowboys game almost every year. So this is in the old stadium. Did I ever tell you this? And this is why I love Eagles fans, right? So because the Cowboy fans in Dallas, they sit on their hands. They're not as filthy.
They're very conservative, really. They're very nice.
Yeah, nice people. So we're at the stadium. It was the Monday night game when Donovan McNabb had like that 50-yard scramble.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
And he launched it up to Freddie Mitchell, right?
Yeah, at the end. They ended up scoring a touchdown after he ran for and you guys beat the shit out of us. We were sitting in the Philly section, and we were arguing with them and everything. But I always tell this describes Philly people to a T. So after the game, we're sitting in the section, and all the guys, we became friends with them because we were breaking balls together, So the kid's like, hey, he goes, why don't you come with us to the strip club? So we're sitting, I'm here, the kid's here. There was this blonde chick next to us that was like a soccer mom, but she was trying to be cool. So she was like, well, which strip club are you going to? And then the guy said the name. And she goes, that's not a good place. That place is disgusting. And then he goes, without blame, he goes, what the fuck are you talking about? He goes, I was knuckle deep in this chick's asshole for $20. It's the best strip club ever. He said it. He said it like, just like, what do you mean? This steak is an amazing, like he just, dude, the look on her face, he was so appalled at the level of filth,
That's where we're. That's our family there, Dom. I bet he was a mummer.
He definitely was a mummer. You're
trying to get me in trouble with the mummers. I just asked. It's quite a bit of an effort to be a mummer for that one day.
Do you know what a mummer is, Brett?
No, I was just about to ask that. What is that?
Yeah, why do we always go back to this every episode? We bring it back to the mummers.
Well, it is funny when someone's not from.
No one knows what it is. I'm always shocked at.
I would think Brett would.
All right,
know,
that's enough. That's enough for you two.
Being that he's a Jersey guy. You
North
never heard of,
Jersey is way different from South Jersey.
but
Yeah.
North Jersey is.
What
like,
town are you? What town are you from?
Passaic, Patterson, that area.
Oh, okay, cool.
And my grandfather was from like Hoboken, Jersey City, West New York, that area.
Yeah, that's way different.
Were you not in did you not know about South Philly until you started like doing comedy and working the road, and you've been in the neighborhood?
No, we knew because everybody, my family, we would work down at the shore, and then we had at the Atlantic City. I mean, we always knew Philly, but to me, Philly was just like New York. I didn't really think about it, especially as a kid, because we go there to eat when we were younger, and you just thought of it as just, when you're a kid, it all doesn't make sense, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like you're going to a pizzeria but then you're calling it water ice as opposed to Italian ice, or pork roll as opposed to Taylor ham.
Give your tongue a sleigh ride. Remember that guy? Popsicles, Papa. Give your tongue a sleigh ride. This is one line. Fucking. Do you remember the guys on the beach with the?
Oh yeah, the guys the guys ringing the bell,
selling the ice cream on the.
How sad is his life, huh?
But Brett's Jersey Shore isn't our Jersey Shore, Dom. He never went to Wildwood.
No,
he went to
Atlantic City was the demarcation line. If you make a right, you go down Cape May. You make a left, you get all that North Jersey,
North Jersey beach. Yeah, the North Jersey beaches.
But what's a Momo? What's it called? The Momo?
Oh, the Momo.
It should be called a Momo. Yeah, I got it right here. Let me bring it up. Here you go.
What is this?
Every New Year's Day.
Is that Mardi Gras?
No, every New Year's Day in Philly.
Why do you insist on mocking these people? They're having a fun time for a night.
What are they called?
The mummers. Dom's very critical.
So wait, what makes a mummer something? Just the people that dress up and dance?
Yeah, they dance. They're dancing every night for the whole thing. They do that in about 15 minutes and they're out of there. They're knitting for the next year. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a New Year's Day tradition, and then there's like groups, and then they compete, I think, for some sort of prize, and they all have like a show, but it's just a parade on New Year's Day. Steve was a mummer.
So then you were.
I was in the comic brigade. They don't play instruments. They just grab the umbrella and they dance.
You're the Froggy, right? Wasn't it Froggy something?
Froggy car, yeah.
Froggy car.
They break them up.
What's that got to do with the guy at the Eagles game at the Cowboys stadium talking about having being knuckle deep in a stripper's ass?
You referred to the way he was talking to a woman. I was using my comedic choice. It was terrible. I took a chance there. That was a reach. What was your Jersey Shore, Brett? Seaside?
Well, for different reasons, we would go to Wildwood, but Seaside Heights, and then Atlantic City, of course. We'd stay at the Caesars a lot.
Love Caesars.
Then,
You do Atlantic City as a stand-up?
Yeah.
Where do you go?
I did the Atlantic City Comedy Club, the one at the
Claridge.
The Claridge.
Yeah, it's at the Claridge. Yeah.
Yeah, AC.
And then what else have I done there? Stop. Remember when Gephardt had his room there? The Comedy Stop.
In the Tropicana, yeah. Dom, you love that guy, right, Dom? We've talked about him on the show.
He sued me.
Really?
He sued me for doing a gig the week after I was here, and like $10,000. That was really big money back then. And he did it. What do you call when they have to show you this thing that you say
like a non-compete, Dom? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
A clause, like a non-compete clause.
And it's a really long. I don't want to waste it in this show, but I was supposed to do his show, but I never told him. I didn't know it was a big deal. I got this gig, me and Ellen DeGeneres, and somebody. It was really, we were so happy at all that money and stuff. and he wouldn't let me go on. Some legal shit. I had to give him the 3 plugs on the Tonight Show. So I did, right.
3 plugs on the Tonight Show.
Tonight Show was really big at that time. So if Carson and those guys, they thought it was a mob thing. The mob was present. It wasn't a mob thing. It was just this guy, this club owner, and he was just a fucking asshole.
Huh?
Did you get that? I hope so.
Yeah.
Did he pass away or something?
I hope so. I hope they're miserable.
I was watching. I can't remember what it was the other day, but they were talking about Pips in Brooklyn. Did you ever play that club? Somebody was saying that was like the first like real stand-up comedy club.
Well, I auditioned for it and I didn't get it. And then I told Paul Reiser, who was a regular there, and get anything he wanted. He said, "What? Fuck them." He goes, "Dom's funny." That was it. That's how I got it. Not by being a good comedian, just a friend.
Yeah, it was
so
like
I got everything.
It was like a mob run joint too, right?
I don't know. It's Brooklyn.
Yeah, Italian owned.
Sheepshead Bay. Yeah.
Yeah, Sheepshead Bay, right?
I hate to break it to you, but everything on the East Coast at that time was connected somehow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know they had their hands in comedy.
Bro, Sheepshead Bay?
No, I didn't know that.
That diner had the best French toast on the planet. The Sheepshead Bay diner.
Steve, do the math, okay? You need alcohol there, number one.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You need a space.
Meat. You got to get the meat. You got to get the trash.
There's something always there involved. Now paying, if they're directly own it, there's a couple of those clubs back in the day that were, there's one in Wisconsin. There was a Chicago one.
Mm-hmm.
Dom would know. Dom, did you do that whole Boston scene back then?
Yeah, that was great. But if they didn't like you, they'd fucking bury you. But I had it off with those guys. It was Dennis Leary and the biggest guys. They didn't even go anywhere else. They made so much money from Boston. It was so popular. It was amazing.
Like Lenny Schultz, guys like that.
Oh, Lenny, yeah. But that was the first time in my life that I met comedians who like could fight. They're like real guys, not just my mother did this and my mother did. It's a whole different thing. I didn't even know they existed. They were fucking hilarious.
You mean like blue collar guys?
Yeah. They didn't talk about their mother and they grew up from rank. It was always the same shit with comedians, the same joke,
Yeah.
But,
how were the, like when you started in Florida, Brett? Were there any, like, how was the scene? Was it good?
Yeah, it was great. It was great. I remember. I was there because technically I was in New York. Because I went to one mic up there before I went back to Miami, and then I moved back up there to work with I'll tell you their names. Dom will know them in a second. Anyways, but yeah, so Miami's really where I was working the most, and it was a great scene. I mean, because Dom, you got to remember, Hedberg was down there, Tosh was down there.
Oh, I didn't know that. Hedberg was living down there?
Well, no, they would work. Everybody would work down there. Like you'd see them all the time. Tosh was actually living in Orlando, then went to Miami. Like Schubert was down there for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Dom, you spent some time down there too.
A lot of times, yeah.
You were working the scene there.
Dan Whitney was there a lot. Larry the Cable Guy. And I would have been the worst fucking manager ever because I said to him, listen, man, you got to drop that fucking character. I don't know where you're going to think you're going. You're such a funny guy. Why are you wasting your fucking time? Boom. And $2 million later that week, he shot out of a cannon.
But no, South Florida had a great pedigree, man. Gary Valentine would come down a lot. Kevin James' brother. There was like a good scene when I had started.
So what was your main club down there?
Uncle Funny's was my main club.
Oh, that was a great club, yeah.
Which Dorfman spots, and then I would do Comedy Corner in West Palm, Boca Nuts, which is now New York Comedy Club, or no, it's now Boca Black Box Theater there.
Oh, the Black Box.
Oh, yeah.
Black
Prior
Box,
to that, it was Boca Nuts. It was called. So they had all those good clubs down there, man.
I love South Florida.
Yeah.
How do you end up out in LA? How did that happen?
A girl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my first girlfriend was a Laker girl, so I moved out to be with her because I went to New York for a minute.
Wise choice.
I was working, and then we just were long distance, and we just got closer. And then I had a friend of mine that I had met actually in Florida that used to own the Ice House with Bob Fisher and Jan. His name was Mark Weingarten. And then
Jewish?
Nice Italian boy. So then he had recommended me to work there. And then when I had got there, Schubert had taken me with him on the road, and he recommended me to the store. So I got there in 99. I got passed by Mitzi in 2000. And then I went to LA literally for the Comedy Store. Just remember reading about it, wanting to be a part of it. And, when we got there, Dom will tell you, there was nobody going to that fucking place. That
was during that dead period. Yeah.
Yeah. And we kept it going, man, for almost 20 years.
So was the Laugh Factory competition at that time or not really?
He had to deal with that. I didn't deal with that in the early 2000s because I was able to work all three. Because Jamie passed me, and then I was working the Improv. I mean, Dom will tell you more because he was during that whole strike era when they were all.
No, I was past that. By the time I got there, that was two years old. It was done.
Oh, okay. So you didn't have to deal with that shit either, huh?
No. I mean, I read about it when I'm with my improv group. We're practicing. They go, Dom, look at this. The guy jumped off the roof and fucking killed himself, obviously.
Yeah,
that's a pretty tough club, huh? Yeah, I don't want to leave for that. But I was, I did this TV show last year, 2 years ago. It was called Dying Up Here, and it was based on that whole thing.
Oh yeah, Jim Carrey produced that. I seen that. Yep. Yeah,
he gave me the part on stage at the original room, the Comedy Store. He goes, "Gotta get Dom on." They wish fucking business was like that. They wish that our real. Hey, I like you. Do it. Just like boom.
They just gave you the part.
What's that?
He said that he just gave you the part on stage.
Just gave me the part. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I hated auditioning.
You hated auditioning, you said?
Yeah, because it's all bullshit. They know who they're gonna get. Might as well just not even waste the parking.
The worst is when they bring you in and you're testing and they like you, but so what happens, Steve, is they'll put offers out to the actors they want.
Mm-hmm.
And then the actors, in part of the charade is they'll act like, well, let me read it. We'll get back to you. Now, in the meantime, they're going to start auditioning people in case those actors turn down the offers.
Right.
Don't do it. They got to fill it. And then, so you have the people they want, the backups to who they want, and then the people they're auditioning. Because then you could go through the whole process, but it's still worth it because if something else comes up, they know who you are. But I can't tell you how many parts I got that I was never meant to get.
How did you get Cousin Louie? Was that by accident with the Cobra Kai thing? Or?
It's funny. The guys that do it were fans of stand-up. The guys that, because they did Hot Tub Time Machine and Harold and Kumar. And it was a request to see me.
Oh, okay.
I still had to go, audition, but I didn't know what it was because I got this. They told me it was about the Karate Kid, but it was for the internet. And then I'm like, all right. But I was doing a theater in Asbury Park that week.
Right.
So I was in Jersey all week promoting the show. Then when it was done, I got on a plane Monday. And when I got off the plane, I actually read the script on the plane. And I'm like, holy shit, this is like with the real cast.
Right.
And believe it or not, I had my Marukas t-shirt on, from JR Bar and Grill. And I was up in New Jersey the whole time. So I kind of had my accent, but I was just talking normal. I wasn't doing it cartoony. And I just came in and read it like me. But because I was in Jersey for a week, you're around all your cousins and everybody. So you just started talking like a jerk off again. And it just translated. And then, they liked me. They brought me back. I tested. They gave it to me. And then, I showed up on set.
How did you like acting? Did you enjoy being on set? And how was that like you there all day doing that or what?
Yeah, I mean, like the first, I mean, I had pilots and shit like that, but like the first major role I ever got was on Weeds.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
And-
yeah. That's right. That's
But
right.
I was
like
always,
that show.
And I still remember Dom making fun of me one night at the store when I showed up in my tracksuit. I forgot what you said. You're like an Italian Olympian or something.
I don't remember.
I came into my Adidas. Everything was Adidas, and he started breaking my balls. But
It's because I liked you.
I'm in a tracksuit. Say what, Dom?
I said I liked you. That's why I would never do that to somebody I didn't like.
Oh yeah, of course, man. I
Who
love.
were you? Were you going out with a girl who became a comedian?
I used to date Eliza Schlesinger.
Oh.
You know, it was cool when I dated her. She had just one last comic standing. But the one thing I couldn't get over is how fucking hard that girl works.
Oh, you could
really?
tell. Yeah,
Comedy, man. I mean, dude, her work ethic is sick. Like,
she's competitive with her.
up early, does the writing, does the work. I mean, she just was so diligent.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this girl's gonna go far, man. Which she did, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But what was I? Oh, so
we're talking about Weeds, yeah.
Yeah, so you know, it's fun when you get it. It's like Dom said, you know, it's a lot of it. They know who they want. You can't take it personally. I would say 95% of it is failure. And if you can get over that, and then, but once you get the gig, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's crazy. That ironically you were on the East. Do you really feel that helps if you're auditioning for like a East Coast part and you're like around your friends and family?
It has to.
Here?
Yeah, it has to.
You think
yeah,
that
it has to. Yeah,
You notice a change when you do the road when you're out here for like a week or two?
Dude,
Absolutely.
I haven't lived in New Jersey in a couple of years, and every time I'm back there, I'm instantly more pissed. You know, when I leave, you know, like you're just a little
Where
more.
are you?
I'm in San Francisco now. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but I was in. I mean, I'm from Jersey, and I was living in Boynton, in South Florida, Boynton Beach.
Is that where I met you?
No, we met in Jersey, in Atlantic City, with Steve.
No, yeah,
Mhm.
it was me, Brian, and my wife that night when we came to the
That's what it was.
And Adams too. Wasn't Mike Adams with us or no?
Yeah, Bret did my podcast I had with Mike.
I thought I met you at Tin Roof or something. Like there was a comedy. There was like a comedy scene down there, but it was with you, Steve. What the fuck?
Yeah,
am I
yeah. No.
Yeah, and we had that. We had Chris Cotton as a mutual friend, but we never really met in person. And then that night we partied in AC. I gave you a bottle of Goose.
I would stay at the Claridge because they had that Frank Sinatra suite up there, which literally they haven't changed the fucking rugs. It still has his DNA on it. And then I would stay at the Hard Rock because my buddy, you know, would get. I had a VIP guy there that would get me the rooms comp.
Nice.
So I would stay in both places, but we would party at that fucking 1920s. I love that room up. I wouldn't sleep in that bed, but goddamn, that room's awesome.
They got the same lighting from 40 years ago.
Yeah.
I like Atlantic City. It's a shame it's such a dump of a town.
What has it gotten worse? Where 25 years ago it was like that too.
Yeah, it's gotten worse.
Yeah, Dom, in like the 70s and like you played AC probably a lot in like the 80s, right? 80s and 90s.
Oh, 80s. I started stand up in 80.
In 80,
killed. Just when I started, I just started killing all over the place. It was the destruction of what I did. I was thinking when you were saying about the audition, when they would say the bigger the rejection, like the more effusive they are about. Oh, you did great, but they decided to go in a different direction. What's that? There's the direction you're going, and we're going that direction. And we don't pay for the parking. Thank you.
Well, you could tell in Hollywood, you could tell how important or how close you were to either the recommendation or the producer wanting you to be there by where you park.
Oh, yeah, right.
Right? If you got a drive-on pass, you're like, okay, I got a good shot at this. But if they're put you in that fucking parking garage 2 miles from where you got to be, you're like, they're not that interested. But the beautiful thing about COVID is that now, like, because I moved out of LA before COVID, right?
Mhm.
And if they really wanted me and I had to come in, then they like, because sometimes they'll say, yeah, we'll see them. If you're in town, that's when you can waste your time. If you're out of town, they're not going to waste your time or their time. So
Right.
if they really want to see you, then if they're asking to see you, they really want to see you.
I couldn't
And that helps
audition.
more when you're preparing, you know. But I love the acting of it. I think it's great. I love it. I just, I'm typecasted, but whatever. There's a reason. I belong in a tracksuit. I get it. Oh, but getting back to the accent thing. So, if I'm around you guys or if I'm in Jersey and I'm around people that know it, I really don't have an accent. When you get out of there, they think you have an accent. But
Right.
you really don't. But there is the way we talk, right? We're very lazy. We talk quick. There's just certain cadences. And then, because both my parents were fucking Jersey. I mean, my mother was a Jersey girl out of Jersey City. My dad, an accent. My real father, my stepfather would say tree. You know how they do? Let me get three of those.
Right.
Just that heavy. Everything's a Ming. What are you doing? They speak the hey, Venica, get over here. Like they'd say like the one word that they know mixed in with the English.
Yeah, and it wasn't even the real word. It was an abbreviation of whatever the actual Italian word was.
I didn't even know what the terms were because my grandparents spoke fluent,
Right.
But then like you start having this, like even in Florida, right? You start having this weird accent because your parents talk that way. And then it's almost like how Ozzy Osbourne's kids have that fucked up, weird British accent. It's like it sounds British, but it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Right.
I just got advice from an uneducated relative that I respect. Those are tough conversations because I hit him with, I don't want to say what relative it is, but I hit him with facts and I backed him in a corner. And the way he responded to me was priceless. He went, listen to me. I'm going to say it was my uncle. He was like, I'm your uncle. Never forget that. And you respect me. That was his comeback. It's like it had nowhere to turn.
There's no refuting your point. It's just now he's going to strong arm you by
That's
outright.
it. He muscled me. That was it.
Dude,
I had an uncle.
Go ahead, Bob.
I had an uncle that he just fucking hated people. He hated everything except his daughters and the sky at night. And really, and he goes, somebody's talking about Julius Erving. He goes, fuck Julius Erving. Everybody in Philadelphia loved him. He goes, fuck it. He's the doctor. What the doctor of? You know what he's the doctor of? My ass. and I remember this guy, and I was fucking with him. I go, oh yeah, he's a proctologist? That's not funny, man. He was on the fucking hate train. And I don't know why I got off the hate train and did that bit, but let's cut that.
No, man, listen, those old guys were priceless. I mean, my stepfather would be almost 100 now if he lived. And my grandfather who raised me was just those old school Sicilian guys. And the advice they give you, I mean, this ain't even a bit. Like my stepfather would tell me, he goes, you know why you're not famous?
I had a friend's mother who was giving me directions on the whole thing.
No, I got to hear that. I got to hear that, Brett.
Well, let Dom. Go ahead, Dom. What were we going to say?
No, but tell your story.
No, he told me I wasn't famous because I didn't grow my hair out.
Oh.
Like
I used to get a lot. I used to get
He's like, you got to grow your hair. You got a head of hair like Frankie Valli. You put a suit on. I'm like, if I went on stage with a fucking pompadour and a suit, they'd be like, who the fuck is this asshole on stage? He's going to wear a fucking ducky in the back and a pompadour. What the fuck are you talking about?
You know what I got to ask both you guys as successful Italian American comics? Did you ever have like a neighborhood local guy that supports you, like just that Joe Schmo, and he like tries to find his way in the show business? Like, yo, talk to this guy for me. Did you ever get that?
Yeah,
I always got. Can you help Vito? I get anyone. So what you do? You know, we want to get in show business. That's a pretty broad thing. So you want to, because I always forget about the premise. Like I did something wrong about The Sopranos. How come they don't put you on that show? I never thought of that. That'd be a great idea. Italian actor from New York. Yeah.
You know what you need to do, Dom? You need to get in one of Scorsese's movies. That's what you need to do.
That's what. Thank you.
You heard that one, Bret?
Oh, of course. No,
I remember going up there. And then saying, my friend O'Hanlon's mother said, "Why don't you do like soap operas until you get like a real acting job? Like it's that easy, you know." Hey, I'm not here for real for I give a shit, but if you give me some work for a couple months, and I gotta get out of here.
I'm taking a real job, I'll bounce.
Yeah, nobody's turning down fucking $500,000 a year in work. I mean,
right.
but I mean, just think how Italian Americans are. You know, like even like I was telling you, the people that I don't really I mean, I love them all, but you know, the ones that I'm like really close to never bother me. But then you get these guys that'll call you and be like, "Hey, I heard you're coming to town. How do I get tickets?" Which is code for they want me to comp their tickets.
Of course.
You didn't call fucking Billy Joel when he came to town to ask how you could get tickets. If you know I'm here, you know how to get tickets. So they're, you know, they always do that backhanded. They need a favor. I'll pay. How do I get them? You know, that type shit.
Yeah.
So I had a buddy of mine, without mentioning names, that knew I was friends with Vince Vaughn. And Bert Kreischer, we were sharing a room in Atlantic City, ironically, when I got the call. Because we were doing that tour. It was me, Burns, Sebastian, Mike Young.
I remember that.
Bert Kreischer. We were all touring together. So Bert was in my room, and my buddy called me because I heard he just got out, right? So, of course, I know what it is. I'm like, "Yo, how you been?" I'm not going to say his name. "Yo, da-da-da-da." He said, "Listen, I heard you've been doing big things." I go, "Nah, you know, I'm still working. You know, it's whatever." He goes, "Listen, I wrote a script." So now I go, "Okay." And I put it on mute and I put him on speaker and I go to Birch because we're about to get fucking gold. You know what I mean? Then I unmuted it and I said, "What's up, man?" He goes, "Yeah, I wrote a script while I was in there. It's like based off my life. It's like Goodfellas meets Boiler Room." Like he's going on and on.
Goodfellas
Then he
meets
said,
Boiler Room.
"Listen, I need you to shop this around, get it sold for me. I'll give you a percentage." Like, you know, like it's a great business opportunity, right? Then he says this, I swear on everything. "I heard you're friends with a couple movie stars," you know, which he wasn't specific. Then he goes, "But look, here's the deal. If it gets sold, I gotta play myself in it." Then I'm thinking, dude, you went to prison, not Juilliard. You know what I mean? And on top of that, there's like 8 people that could get a movie done in Hollywood, and you're not one of them. Dude, he literally thought that he could just, and I said, "Well, send it to me." It wasn't even formatted. Was
it handwritten?
It was written like with the, you know, they put a hash, like a line, and then the words, and then a hash. Like there was no actions, and it was just the worst, and it was just an awful thing. But you know, they've had people ask me to do favors for them.
Have you seen Brett's movie?
You mean
or Bert's movie? I'm sorry. Yeah.
Bert's movie, The Machine?
Yeah, The Machine. Yeah.
Yeah, but I saw it when it wasn't released.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's probably, you know.
Yeah, a little different.
Little
cut.
different.
Yeah,
but I love
it.
it.
I gotta check that out.
Both the movies are fucking great, man. They really are. And they're, and you know what's great is they're very specific to who they are as comics.
Was Bert Kreischer was a LA comic? He came up same time as you?
No, he was in New York for a while, I think. But he came to LA when I was out. I met him early 2000s. And then we were friends and we toured together. We actually, me, him, and Theo Von did a pilot together in 2008, I think.
Let me ask you this. De Niro is a great actor, a working actor now. Does it change your opinion of him? Or is it the image of him to do all these parts? Like when he did Raging Bull, and a couple of those movies, they were so fucking great. It's you're competing with yourself, you know. Does it bother you at all that he's done?
He's doing comedies, yeah.
No, I mean he's working. He's got to work. I mean it's a testament. It's a testament to him because, you know, when you're that old, man. I mean the dude's got to be damn near 80 something, right?
I don't know. He was pretty young when he did Raging Bull, and what was it?
He's 79.
Yeah, so he's got to be damn near 80 because he's about my mom's age.
Oh, yeah.
He just had a kid too.
I mean, come on, let's go.
Dom, are you having a baby anytime soon? You want to announce it?
Oh yes, I am. I am with
Bret,
child.
Bret, thanks for doing the show, man. You coming back east anytime soon?
Maryland in July, and then, Uncle Vinny's. I'm at Uncle Vinny's in Point Pleasant, July 28th and 29th.
Hey, who's booking that?
Is that a joke?
How'd you get that? Yeah, it's a joke. How'd you get that?
I don't know. You took the pause though. You sold it. People do that shit. It's amazing how comics are, man. Dom, they must have been worse when you were coming up, because it was just so. It was so. There was like one gatekeeper, and then
Yeah, if you didn't get the Tonight Show, if you didn't get one show, the Tonight Show, you're a failure. He was on the Tonight Show. What the fuck? It's a different world. I mean, all these arenas filled up all the time. They didn't have the communications then to see. Now the internet is incredible for comedians.
Well, you know what's great, Dom, and I always said this to you because I remember you again. Our conversations stand out more to me than they do to you. But when you were telling me about just keep writing, keep working, and I remember, again, I knew you were older than me, but the way you stay relevant, and it dawned on me because I remember wasn't I with you when you brought Dangerfield to the Laugh Factory?
Mm-hmm.
You brought Rodney, right?
Yeah, a couple times.
Yeah, he was there a few times because you were up there drinking wine, and to watch him keep working, and then Dice keep working, and you. I remember you telling me because you weren't. It was just matter of factly, but you said, what's great about stand-up, because Carlin was still alive at that time too, and we were watching Rodney, and you were like, is the older you become, the more relevant you are, and as long as you keep working and doing material, and and that always stuck with me. Like even now at my age, hanging with the younger kids, but you're still relevant because you're still creating, you're still in the clubs, you're still doing what you're doing, and that always stuck out to me that you said that.
Yeah, you really do. You have to do it to even stay at that level. But if you want to improve, it's really fucking hard. You're competing with yourself, a younger yourself. It's relentless. I mean, I love it, but I can't.
As an older comic, because I'm there now. There's kids performing that are 20 years younger than me now. But don't you feel that you're now at like. The older you get, though, the more on top of the game you are, or the sharper your tool has become, because just by doing it I've only been doing it 26 years compared to how long you've been doing it. Wow. And I just feel like, I could go up in any room and just talk about something and get something out of it. Mm-hmm. Don't you feel that it got not easier as you got older, but that experience has really helped you in the creative process, like more.
I'm fascinated by the communication is so brilliant today. I'm on stage at the Laugh Factory. See these three Asian girls, and they're laughing. I said, they were 19, and they're UCLA. And I go, how the fuck did this happen? What are they? How they're laughing at me? You can't believe that we have nothing in common, but everything in common because of the media.
Right. Bret, didn't I say that? So me and Bret did Vinny Brand's club, Stress Factory. I opened for him there, and there were these young kids. They had to be like 19, Cobra Kai fans. They knew him from Cobra Kai, and they like gathered. They wanted to party with Brett. They wanted to go out partying with Brett. And Brett, you like riffed about it. You were like, "This is going to be my life now. I'm going to be surrounded by these 18-year-old fucking kids, keeping me out all night."
I noticed, like, I started in '96, right? And I've seen all the crowd. I will say the millennial generation was the trash one, in my opinion. That's who started all this woke bullshit. And the Gen Z kids, though, are harder in the paint. Like, they love edgy comedy now, man. It's like they're the
twisted.
ones
They're twisted. They're very twisted. Yeah, very twisted.
Like,
yeah,
it was almost like
twisted,
those millennials came and they were the ones that tried. They were like those religious right soccer moms that we used to deal with in the 80s and 90s that are like, "Don't you dare say that," with those fucking haircuts. And then now these millennials came and they were like the woke version of the religious right, where that's not funny, da-da-da-da. And now you're seeing these 20-something kids coming to comedy shows, man. Like Nate Jackson said something to me which made sense. He's like, because I've been noticing I'm seeing a lot of 21, 22-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about it with my boy Carlos, and Nate had told Carlos something which resonated. He goes, "You got to remember, during that whole fucking shutdown with COVID, these kids were 17 and 18. They were just consuming comedy online. Right. And now they're old enough to buy tickets, and they're coming by themselves to these shows." Mm-hmm. And I think I agree with Dom too. The internet's the greatest thing that has happened to us as comics.
I think it really accelerated everything. I mean, even from my perspective as a producer, the work that I got during COVID, it was way different than what it was before, but there's tons more of it, tons more of it, at least online and editing and stuff like that.
I got a plane in Sydney, right? Sydney, I got off the plane. Fucking kids were waiting for me to come to the club. Like because I was on Rogan's show, and these kids are like 16. The drinking age there is like 8 or something. And they just they start busting my balls about this thing. And Joe and I had a conflict on something, just fucking around. And they start teasing me. And I'm thinking, how the fuck did this happen? These kids are in Sydney, Australia. It's like, I mean, you couldn't, nothing would have happened like that.
You got to love it. And you got to love it too, is because no matter if somebody discovers you for the first time online, whether they like you or not, if you're listening to podcasts like a Rogan's podcast and we know comics are actually giving the flowers and the props to the comics that fucking deserve it now. It's not necessarily Hollywood that's ordaining anybody. It is. Right. It's Rogan. It's Bill Burr. It's all these people online that you've been in the trenches with, And the one thing I'm not liking, though, that I'm seeing, which is becoming a trend, and Brian and Steve, I don't know if you're noticing this. Dom, they're probably not doing this to you. But I'm getting these younger kids that want to MC or host, and you give them a shot, and they're just doing fucking crowd work with their stupid little camera set up, hoping to get a fucking TikTok.
Yeah, you see, you know what I see? I see it a lot on, at least from, I mean, I'm not a comedian, but I see it from other podcasts that I'm watching them. I'm like, you guys just said this to cut it up as a clip. It's not organic, and you can you can tell. You can totally tell.
Dude, it's like a phenomenon. In my 26 years of stand-up, I have never told anybody in front of me what to do, but I'm saying it now to the kids. You're not doing crowd work, not because you're going to bury me. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about the way you're fucking handling the show, and there's nothing funny. Look, Rick Ingram, Steve Byrne, Butch Bradley, Jimmy Brogan, Ian Bagg. There are guys that their crowd work is fucking unbelievable.
I got to see Butch in Vegas. I don't know. Maybe
he constructs a whole fucking act.
Brett, it's so crazy.
Destroys people. Butch destroyed the crowd. Yeah.
You're bringing up this crowd work thing. That's the same thing Jimmy Schubert said 2 weeks ago when he did our show. He said that headliners are noticing it.
Dude, it's awful. And it's not, they're like, so what do you do? I'm a doctor. Oh, like Dr. Pepper? Like, it's just, weird fucking hacky shit. And a lot of them aren't even getting the crowd, like, you know, they're getting them riled up even more than and then the middle has to fucking clean up after that. I don't have to deal with that shit.
They were telling me in San Francisco, Dave Chappelle went in and was trying to help the club. It's doing like 3 or 4 hour sets. And I said, does he always, is this new material? And the waitress said, no. I said, what do you mean? She goes, last week, he goes to this guy, he goes, where are you from? The guy goes, I'm still from Pittsburgh. You know, like Dave was repeating himself, didn't realize it. Nothing changed.
But Dave can do what he wants.
I said, yeah.
I said, slow down. Why did you slow down?
Pick up a fucking camera and keep pulling the audience, hoping to get something that isn't even that good.
Brett, I never asked you. You were like one of the first comics to put a special out on YouTube for free.
I was the first.
You were definitely the first one.
Yeah.
So did you think it was going to, like, now do you think it's gotten a little bit out of control, or do you think it's a good thing? Like,
I think, listen, there's going to be a circle of comedians that people trust. You know, Rogan's one of them. If I'm on a podcast and I'm talking about Dom Irrera and this 18-year-old doesn't know who the fuck he is, right? And then Rogan's talking about him. And then, you know, it's the same thing with me. You know, there are kids that never saw, they don't even know Premium Blend. Like, there's a whole body of work that I've done that no one's ever going to see because it's not out there anymore. You know, it's not on TV. You don't see it anymore. So when the comics start talking about each other and you put an hour special out and it's a solid hour and, you know, and you're getting validated by other comedians, then yeah, I think it's great. And I knew, look, when I did it and when I was to do it, I knew it would do. I knew this is where the internet was going. I mean, I made it took 2.5 years. I made my money back and then some, and I've got over 5 million views on the hour. You know what I mean? So I knew I was anticipating it to be quicker. I'm sorry, it was 3 years. I was hoping it'd be 2 years tops, but eventually it panned out. And I think a lot of comedians that are not getting the love from the streaming services because they have to check their boxes, right? If you're a fucking solid headliner and you got a solid hour, that's the way to go. But then you're seeing people put shit out that is like fucking, you know, nobody wants to watch this.
Yeah, that's kind of Dom's perspective on it. Like he said before it used to be a comedy special because there was so during his era, it was just so limited of how many people.
It was special. It was unique.
Now having a special isn't special, especially the fact that you can make it. You can make it with your own money. It's like, hey, how'd you get that?
I mean, you can shoot something for under $10,000. You know,
easy.
Something nice too, and it would look good.
It's top of the line shit. I mean, my first one cost me $20, and you know, now you could do it. See, they didn't look again. You either have to adapt or die.
Yep.
And you know, there are comics that refuse to embrace the internet and the technology. And then there's the younger comics. That's all they embrace. They're not embracing the art. So there has to be a happy medium. And I think guys my age are in that sweet spot because you're seeing like Sam Morril and you know,
he's fantastic. I just watched his special again the other day.
And you know, that's great because these guys are fucking talented. Who's the other one? Mark Norman.
You see this cook. We click in and we did the show right. About 30 minutes, nothing. Now the last 30 minutes, now it's going to be good.
That's fine. Keep this in.
It took us that long though to get to a show.
Take out the bullshit. Yeah, we got to watch the game though. It's already tipped off.
Brett, thank you, buddy.
No, anytime,
Thanks,
man. I love you, buddy. And appreciate you. I don't know if you know, I took up that Boca gig for you.
I wanted to do that. How was it?
It was great. It was, you know, they all bought tickets to see you. You should have seen how disappointed they were when I walked out.
Thanks for coming and keep up the good work, brother.
Thanks, Brett.
Thanks, Brett.
See you, Brett.
Later, guys.
Yo, Dom, over here.
Bye.
Hey, Dom, hey.
Yo, Dom.